Hey guys, this is Mrs. Grella, and today's lesson we are going to use trig to find missing angles of a triangle, given two sides. All right, so I've copied this problem down from Delta Math, and I've copied it onto my paper here. So it looks like we need to find this angle measure here. It's an angle, it's inside the triangle, and I know these two sides of the triangle. I know DE is 71, and I know DF is 63. So remember my formulas. I have SO, CA, TOA, which means that sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent. So I have to label my diagram the way I've been doing all week, all last week. So I have to start with my hypotenuse. My hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. So my hypotenuse in this case would be 71. My opposite side would be across from the angle in question. So since this is our angle that we're trying to find, we're going to consider that our reference angle. So if I want to find the opposite, I would go across from that. So the opposite side of angle X would be 63. This is my adjacent side. My adjacent side is not marked. So I'm only really dealing with my hypotenuse and my opposite sides. I'm going to highlight what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with my hype and my opposite. Since I'm dealing with opposite and hypotenuse, I'm going to select sine, sorry. I'm going to select sine because I'm dealing with opposite and hypotenuse. So sine. So what we do is we take the sine of the angle in question. Now the angle in question this time is unknown. It's X, we don't know it. All right, but it does equal the opposite, which is 63, over the hypotenuse, which is 71. So that would be my setup. Now, in the problems where we were finding a missing side and we knew the angle, we would cross multiply. We put the sine X over 1 and cross multiply and solve it. The problem with that is I can't put sine and put X into the calculator. So without putting X into the calculator, I can't really do anything with that. So this is what I do instead. There's actually, I'll show you the calculator, these buttons. You have the sine, cosine, and tangent buttons, right? But then if you look at the blue, sine -1, cosine to the -1, tangent to the -1, those are the inverse sine functions. And what they do is they figure out what the angle is if you already know the ratio. We know that the ratio is 63 over 71. It's just the angle that we don't know. So that's when we use the inverse sine functions. All right, to calculate the inverse sine functions, we type second, because we want to get to the blue writing. And depending upon what we picked sine. So notice how this one says sine -1, that's what you want. You want the inverse sine function. All right, once you type that in, just type the ratio in. Our ratio was 63 over 71. So 63 over, or divided by 71. All right, so there's our angle. Again, we have to make sure we're in degree mode, so let me just double check. Yes, we are. So that would be our angle. So our angle is about 62.5. Let's see what they want us to round to here. It said, find the measure of angle E to the nearest degree. So if our angle is 62.5, that's approximately 62 or 63? I would say 63. So it would be 63 degrees. So again, to get that, let's just go over what the steps were. We did second sign, which is the sine -1. And then we type the ratio in. So it was sine -1, and then we type the ratio in, 63/71. And that equaled out to like 62.5 blah, 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 which rounded up to 63. That's how we got that.